What is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, what you see on your screen here is from the Ulta World Disc Golf YouTube page. I wanted to watch a bit of this Ricky Wysocki interview. This is the first interview that he did after the contract has been announced. I have not watched this yet, so I wanted to give my thoughts and my reactions. I just sort of skipped ahead here. It kind of shows on the bottom like what sort of things they'll be talking about. So I kind of skipped to this what is in the new contract portion of the interview. Again, I haven't heard this yet, but I didn't come out with a video straight away like a lot of other channels because I wanted to get just a little bit more information. I wanted to hear about Ricky's mindset, Ricky's thoughts on the whole thing, and I'm really looking forward to listening to this bit of the interview. If you don't subscribe to Ulta World Disc Golf, Ulta World is the best source for disc golf news in my personal opinion, so definitely go subscribe to this channel and go follow ultaworld.com disc golf website as well. But let's enjoy the interview. Before we get started, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. You're watching Iceberg TV.
Thankful that I'm in this spot.
Beyond the $1 million a year for 4 years, what's in this deal and in this contract that you just signed with DD?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, it's working with a company that I'm aligning with. You know, for me, I've gotten my brand, my obviously my athletic ability in the sport, and my influence and all the different aspects that I've grown into as the player I am today. And I think that working with Dynamic, they see all those different values that I bring to the company and to the family. And so for me, that's the most important thing. Obviously, you know, money is great, and that's something that, you know, I've worked hard for, and I feel like I've deserved. And you know, and I'm beyond thankful that they see that. But you know, there's other aspects to the decision, obviously, that the general public doesn't see. And, you know, I'm here to tell them that, you know, that Dynamic is a company that obviously in the years past, they haven't had maybe the top players, but they've still been a great brand no matter what. And so I've always seen that, and I've always thought that even since I was last on the Trilogy team, you know, 4 years ago. So I just think that both the Dynamics brand and my brand has grown since I left. And so I think in that time away, we both grew to the point where we fit really well together right now.
So you mentioned before we just started recording this that you're also getting a signing bonus that's separate from the 4 years, $4 million. What's the signing bonus and what's the story there?
Yeah, so it's a signing bonus of $250,000, and it's going to be accepted in crypto. So I'm going to be the first disc golfer to get paid any sort of money in crypto. And so that's super exciting. That's something that I'm really into. And it's another reason why Dynamic's been so great to work with is I kind of told them, hey, I want to get paid in crypto. I think that'd be cool. I'm really genuinely a believer in this crypto stuff. And they didn't bat an eye. They're like, yeah, we'll do that. That sounds great. And, you know, so I think that's just a sign of how innovative and how up with the times that Dynamic is. And I think that the general public and the fans are all going to see that for years to come. And I think that I'm just super excited for the general public to see what I'm seeing right now on the inside of the company and the core of the company, and what it boils down to is a great future for the sport. That's for sure.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, something else? What's your choice?
Yeah. So with that big amount of money, I'm probably just going to go Bitcoin because it's not so it's a pretty stable coin compared to some other ones. So I'm probably that's the most confident that I want a confident coin that I'm going to use just because of how stable it is. Ethereum, and you know, there's other coins that might be fun, but that's a lot of money to be throwing at one coin.
Yes. So obviously people are going to be very interested to know what's the story with your discs, what's going to be your signature discs,
So Ricky getting paid in Bitcoin is, in my mind, more of just like a publicity stunt. I feel like Ricky could literally just take the $250,000 and buy $250K in Bitcoin if he wanted to. So I think it's just a publicity stunt to get people talking about it even more. He just wants to be the first one to get paid in Bitcoin more than I think he actually cares about having the Bitcoin. So it's just one of his ways of making his deal a little bit more unique from, you know, I always compare everything Ricky does directly to Paul, and that's something that Paul's contract didn't give him. Paul didn't get that kind of signing bonus, I don't believe. And I know for a fact he didn't get it in cryptocurrency. So again, I think it's just a little bit of a publicity stunt to get people talking about it even more because Bitcoin's really hot right now. Crypto's really hot right now. Doesn't I'd be interested to see how much research Ricky has done in crypto and how much crypto he's owned in the past, or if this is his way of getting his foot in the door. But either way, it's really good for him to start investing in his future. And if he believes that cryptocurrency is the best way to do that, then that's something that he should do. And I think it's a great publicity stunt to pay Ricky with some Bitcoin, just to get people talking even more.
What can you tell us right now about the plan?
Yeah, so we have in the contract, we have a plan for, I think it was like 7 or 8 different discs. So basically one disc for pretty much all the different shots I'm going to be throwing. And we're working on the naming, and we're actually working on the very first one as we speak. It's getting made and probably going to be sent and tested this off season in the next month or so. What are we, early January? So maybe, I'm not going to give a time frame, but in the next couple months we'll have the first disc probably ready to go, and I'm super pumped about that. And then we got 7 other ones that we're working on. And so there's going to be a whole Saki Bomb line of discs. And that's another reason beyond just the $1 million deal that I'm excited about is they're willing to work with me and use my branding to build a whole lineup of discs, which no company's really done before. And I think that my brand's kind of set me up to, be in a spot to where there's value in me designing a brand of discs and specific to me for the first time in my career. That's a super exciting milestone that I'm glad to be partnering with Dynamic for in this part of my career.
One thing that I think is really cool about Ricky designing, his whole, he said 8 discs is going to be about what they're going to do. So Ricky's going to be aiding in the design of those discs. And something that I think Dynamic could do that would be really cool would be just to have whatever bag Ricky's using, maybe like a smaller version of that, and then put all 8 discs in that bag and sell it as like a set or a bundle. So you could literally buy Ricky's exact bag with the exact 8 discs that he's throwing and a bag all together. So, charge a couple $100 for it, but you get, every single disc in Ricky's bag and the same bag he uses. And it's like the Wysocki Supreme bundle would be absolute, like something that we haven't really seen before. But, we all watch players in the bags, and people go buy every single disc in these pro players' bags anyway. What if you could just buy their entire bag all in one set, and then you're at least confident that you have the same discs as your favorite pro player because you bought their exact bag. I think that's sort of the future of where we're heading, and I'd really love to see something like that out of Dynamic once all of these discs are ready to go.
So you're one of a number of players that is leaving a sponsorship contract early. You were on a 5-year deal with Innova. So why the decision to leave, and was there an out in your contract, or did you just say that you wanted to leave and Innova allowed that?
Yeah, I would prefer just not to answer that question, honestly. If that's cool.
Sure. So, first of all, do you have any like Saki Bomb stuff already like printed with you? You got any discs or anything going on right now?
Yeah. So I do. I have a sweet felon. This is called the Latitude's calling it the Orbit. And this is right here. It's the Orbit Felon.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Ricky doesn't want to talk about him leaving Innova. That leaves 2 things on my mind: that they very possibly left on bad blood. They didn't really give him the support he needed as player of the year. They seemed to already know that he wasn't happy and that he was leaving. And I definitely commend Ricky for not airing out, Innova's dirty laundry. He's not trash talking them, and that's extremely professional and respectful of him to say, I would rather not talk about that, instead of just knee-jerk reacting and putting them on blast. I highly respect him. I'm sure Innova did some things he didn't like. He probably wasn't getting paid enough money. If he was getting paid enough money, he probably would have stayed, and things just weren't going well between the company and the player. So I'm sure Ricky knows all the ins and outs, all the negatives of working with Innova, and he's just not saying any of them. So I definitely respect that out of Ricky. That was an extremely professional response to a difficult question. I saw this felon get leaked on Twitter, and I didn't do a video about it because I wasn't sure if it was fake or not. But now we see that Ricky does have his name on a felon, which is a disc that we saw Eric Oakley throwing at a really high level, and that Lucid Felon was Oakley's favorite disc and his signature disc, and probably his biggest money-making disc while he was with the company. And now Ricky's got this Orbit plastic, this Latitude Orbit plastic Felon, which looks absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to see how he's able to throw the Felon, because he's obviously throwing Firebird so well and throwing his Invictus so well, and the Felon is somewhere similar to those two discs in their general flight.
Super awesome. The plastic's very grippy. This is one of my favorite discs I'm most excited to throw. And yeah, it's a really good plastic that Latitude's coming out with right now. And then we've got a couple more other ones as well.
I want to pause here real quick one more time, and then we'll let Ricky talk for a little bit more. Latitude 64 makes some of the most premium disc golf plastic in the world. And if anyone wants to feel the premium disc and they've never thrown Latitude plastic just feels extremely grippy, premium, durable. You can tell that it's just a different next level of quality compared to some of your other favorite brands. And I don't really throw many Latitude discs, but anytime I get a Latitude disc in my hand, like, you're like, dang, this thing feels nice.
We got the Enforcer. This one is in German plastic, so you can see it's kind of see-through. And sorry, more malfunction here. So yeah, the Enforcer here, this is a see-through, pretty stiff plastic. And like I said, this is a German plastic, so it's pretty new in the lineup. And this is totally different than the Enforcers you're going to feel, the stock one. So this is, my signature line right now. And yeah, it's definitely unique. So definitely going to want to check this out if you're an Enforcer fan. And then the harp. So this is a glow harp, and it's a similar plastic to the Enforcer, pretty stiff, and yeah, it's pretty flat. This is also going to be in the line released when I first come out, and then we're gonna have a whole separate line for in the future when we have time to design all the discs specifically to all the stuff that I want in a disc. And then Explorer, this is going to be it's a nice grippy plastic. It's not super stiff like these other two, but it's more of a grippy plastic, which I like for a fairway driver. So that is the Explorer. That's going to be the fourth disc of the lineup. And then fifth and last one is the Dagger. And this one is stiff. So it's not like the regular daggers. I've always been a stiff putter guy. So this is definitely to my liking to a T, because it's super stiff. Even the flight plate is stiff. And that's something that's unique to this putter. Some flight plates have a little bit of give, even if it's stiff on the rim. And so this is stiff all the way around, for me, allowing me to get a nice consistent release.
So I was curious if Ricky was going to bring the daggers back. I was pretty confident he would, and I think eventually he's going to have his own signature putter. But I think we all can agree that Ricky, when he has daggers in his hand, is consistently the best putter in the world. And I'm really excited to see Ricky putting with the dagger again, because the things he's able to do with that putter are just so impressive compared to everybody else on the Pro Tour. The guy is just a monster with a harp and a dagger. And he's elite with any disc in his hand, but when Ricky's got a harp and a dagger in his hand, like he's just simply built different.
Oh, and of course, this is a return to Trilogy for you. You were with Latitude 64 before you moved over to Innova. So, obviously you've already got harp, you got dagger, like you've got some discs that were kind of staples for you before you moved to Innova. Are you expecting to throw a lot of those discs again? Or are you going to move to more dynamic discs molds because you're with DD now? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of a mix of everything. I think that, to start, it's going to be a lot of this stuff. And then once we start making our lineup, have it a little bit more set in stone, then I'll be switching over to that kind of stuff. But that's just because I'm going to be able to help have a say in the plastic and the design aspect, which is super exciting for me to be able, as a player, to say, hey, I want, tell them exactly what I want. And so I'm going to start off with mostly throwing these 5 discs and working my way slowly, introducing some molds throughout the year into my bag that I'm going to be using for the future. So by the time the 4 years is up, I'm sure we'll have the full lineup up, but I'm not sure. Hopefully we can get them out as soon as possible so everybody can get their hands on them and enjoy them as much as I'm going to.
So there's a lot of questions, and I know you're busy and you got to get going. So I just a couple more things. One, it can't be ignored. $1 million a year average annual value. It's the same thing that Paul McBeth is getting with Discraft. Was that a number that was important to you to get? It seems like many of the things in this deal are similar to what Macbeth has done with Discraft.
Yeah, I think it's the signing bonus is more, and obviously we're getting paid same per year. But it's the biggest 4-year disc golf contract in history. So that was that's what I've been kind of telling people, making history in that aspect. So that's super important to me, super important to Dynamic, and I think that's kind of a big reason. We kind of went with that deal. They obviously saw the value in me, and I felt like I brought that value to the company, and so I think that's kind of how we settled on that number. And now it's kind of it's all playing out the way I wanted, and I'm super excited to be able to be in the Dynamic family with these great discs. Allowing back where I won my 2 world championships, and so I just feel at home. I feel comfortable, and I'm ready to get to work this offseason, really dialing them in. But yeah, Paul's been instrumental in the growth of the professional side, so I got to give him a lot of credit, and I'm looking to just continue that trend and continue pushing the sport. That's what it's all about.
Eric McCabe, when I talk,
Ricky and Paul have been battling it out since they've both been good at disc golf. They've been competing at Worlds year in and year out. They're the 2 most consistently top players in the last decade. For Ricky to pay respect to Paul just shows how much they've grown over the last few years. And it's really cool to see how much Ricky respects, the amount of work and the way Paul has sort of paved the way for him. It's really nice to hear him actually pay respect to Paul in that regard.
Talked to him earlier, mentioned that you're thinking about starting Sake Bomb Foundation. Can you tell us anything more about that right now?
Yeah, so we already are working on forming the foundation. It should be good and ready to go by Vegas. So we got a lot of people working on that, and thankful that I've got great people surrounding me, not just for this deal that we made, but also for the foundation and stuff like that as well. So that's something that we're going to be rolling out probably, like I said, around Vegas. And the first initiative is going to be the first putt initiative, where we're going to be trying to get right around 100 discs in a basket to as many schools as possible in the country. So we're going to call it the first putt. I think that's a good name for it, because a lot of kids are going to be having their first putt with those discs that I'm going to be donating. So it's super exciting to be able to get this contract, obviously, and then give back to the disc golf world that I've been so amazing to me throughout my career, allowing me to form the career that I have. And so I want to give back to the sport as much as I can. And I think that's the first thing that came to my mind when I made this big deal, is how can I give back? So that was the first thing that came to my mind, and that's the first thing I'm going to work on. And so I'm super excited about that. Super excited that Dynamic's also supportive of the foundation and going to help me in any way I can to get these discs in kids' hands for their first putt. And that's just going to be the first initiative, and I'm sure we're going to have tons after that. So
this is where I'm going to start to wrap up the video. I'm sure the rest of this interview is amazing, and it's a pretty long video. It's 1 hour and 8 minutes, and they're probably going to continue chatting about Ricky's move. So there's going to be a lot more really great information in here. After I tie up this video, I'm going to probably just watch and listen to the rest of this. But if you don't follow Ultra World Disc Golf, these videos are criminally underviewed. You have to go subscribe to this channel, and you have to watch the content. Ultra World is doing so much for the sport of disc golf, and we definitely should be showing them as much love as we can. They were able to get a hold of Ricky Wysocki, do a really great piece with him. And just a closing thought on this Sake Bomb Foundation, that is a 100% directly correlated to the Macbeth Foundation. The Paul Macbeth Foundation, he's doing really great things. They put the course in La Paz, Mexico. Paul's giving back a lot, especially to his Mexican heritage, which is really amazing. Ricky's going to be putting disc golf baskets and discs in schools. And I think that is so good for the growth of disc golf. And it's going to give these 2 guys a permanent, everlasting sort of podium in the disc golf space. They're going to have an everlasting impact, where these 2 foundations are going to become massive over the next decade. And they're going to probably times 10, times 50, times 100 the amount of kids playing disc golf across the country and across the world. So I'm really excited to see what these two players can do with the foundations. And once they're both retired, I wouldn't be surprised to see collaborations between the two foundations as well. But that's all I have to say about the Ricky Wysocki contract. You're watching Iceberg TV, and take care.